Della Maddalena, one of the calmest and chillest fighters you'll ever meet in the UFC.
You ready to get stupid?
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Nina, and I'm here with...
Della Maddalena.
Yes.
Della Maddalena, one of the calmest and chillest fighters you'll ever meet in the UFC. In the heart of the octagon, where every second is charged with pressure and intensity, Jack stands out for his unshakable composure. While others might crack under the spotlight, he's the guy who remains cool, collected, and laser-focused.
Della Maddalena's story begins not in the cages of the UFC, but on the rugby fields of Perth, Australia. Born on September 10, 1996, Jack's early years were shaped by the camaraderie of team sports. Rugby, a sport that runs deep in Australian culture, was where he first learned the discipline and physicality that would later define his MMA career. However, it was the martial arts world that would eventually captivate his attention. At the age of 14, after years of playing rugby, Jack discovered boxing through his older brother Josh. The shift was immediate. Jack realized he was more than just an athlete, he was a fighter. Boxing offered him a platform to channel his energy in a more focused, individual manner. Under the guidance of his brother, Jack's passion grew, but his true journey as a mixed martial artist wouldn't begin until years later. Training at Scrappy MMA in Perth, he honed his skills under the guidance of coach Ben Vickers. His MMA journey was one of rapid adaptation. In just a few years, he went from a boxer to a well-rounded mixed martial artist, mastering striking, clinch work, and grappling. With his previous experience in boxing, Jack's striking abilities quickly set him apart. His ability to switch between orthodox and southpaw stances gave him the ability to outstrike opponents from different angles, adding unpredictability to his arsenal. There were high points and low points in Jack's early mixed martial arts career. Two early defeats appeared to define his future, but he overcame adversity like many boxers do.
Zero doubt that Jack would bounce back, and I was 100% sure that we would end up in the position that we are in today, going international, and Jack about to prove what he's made of on the world.
On the other hand, he won the Eternal Welterweight Championship 4 times and went on a winning streak of 9 fights. Ange Lusa, a mixed martial artist from the Congo, faced up against Della Maddalena at Dana White's Contender Series 39 on September 14, 2021. Della Maddalena won the bout by majority decision, while subsequently signed to UFC. Della Maddalena was set to make his UFC debut at UFC 270 on January 22, 2022, against Warlley Alves, the middleweight champion of The Ultimate Fighter, Brazil 3. But Alves withdrew in early January for unknown reasons, and Pete Rodriguez, a relative newcomer to the team, stepped in to fill his shoes. A first-round technical knockout gave the victory to Della Maddalena. At UFC 275 on June 11, 2022, Della Maddalena squared off against Ramazan Emeev. The first round was his technical knockout victory. Because of this victory, he was named Performance of the Night. On November 19, 2022, at UFC Fight Night, Nichueku vs. Kudalaba, Della Maddalena had a fight with Danny Roberts. A first-round technical knockout gave him the victory. Della Maddalena won the Performance of the Night bonus for the second night in a row with this victory. On February 12, 2023, at UFC 284, Della Maddalena squared off against Randy Brown. A first-round submission gave him the victory. He was named Performance of the Night for his victory. On July 8, 2023, at UFC 290, Della Maddalena was supposed to fight Sean Brady. Brady, however, withdrew from the fight on June 30th due to an ailment that was not disclosed. Josiah Harrell, a promotional newbie, took his spot. The contest was scrapped the day before the event on July 7th, after Harrell was removed from it because he tested positive for Moyamoya disease during his pre-fight medical screening. At UFC Fight Night, home first, Bueno Silva on July 15, 2023, Della Maddalena came up against Basil Hafez, a promotional newbie. A split decision decided the fight in his favor. They were both given the bonus for Fight of the Night. On September 16, 2023, at UFC Fight Night 227, Della Maddalena squared off against Kevin Holland. It was a divided judgment in his favor. According to 16 of the 16 media scorecards, Della Maddalena was victorious. There were many obstacles on Jack's path to the title match. His victory against Randy Brown at UFC 284 was one of his early highlights. It was in that battle when Jack demonstrated his ground and foot skills to the world. With a submission win by rear naked choke, he proved to the division that Jack was more than just a striker, he was a complete fighter who could triumph in any facet of the bout. Gilbert Burns, a former championship candidate renowned for his exceptional grappling and knockout power, presented Jack with one of his greatest difficulties despite his rising stardom and talent.
You're top 15 now, congrats,
Top
by the way.
15,
Is you
yeah.
14 or something, aren't you?
14.
How good's that?
Yeah, it's cool. I hope the next fight has to be someone that will be a tough top 15 fight. So
And he thought that Jack's career would take a dramatic turn after the fight, and he certainly delivered. Jack won the bout by technical knockout after demonstrating remarkable skill in defending takedowns and outboxing an experienced veteran. Thanks to this win, Jack is now officially one of the title contenders. Jack maintained his concentration and trained tirelessly as the weeks passed. His conditioning, defense, and striking were all fine-tuned. The objective was straightforward: win the championship. With this new UFC superstar on the rise, a title fight was inevitable. At UFC 315 in Montreal, Canada, the date was finalized. For the opportunity to become the UFC champion, Jack Della Maddalena would fight the current welterweight champion, Belal Muhammad. Jack displayed his hitting abilities immediately upon the bell ringing. Muhammad, who was famous for his wrestling and unrelenting pressure, had trouble closing the gap. He couldn't keep up with Jack's timing, swiftness, and deft feet. Jack's aggressive knees and elbows rendered Muhammad's clinch efforts useless. Jack gained self-assurance and began to slip blows and counter with pinpoint accuracy as the bout went on. It was in the championship rounds that Jack's expertise really shone. He stunned Muhammad with a knee in the final round, cutting the champion's face. As Jack's assault grew more unrelenting, Muhammad found himself unable to withstand the onslaught. With scores of 48-47, 48-47, and 49-46 in his favor, the three judges unanimously declared the victory for Jack in the bout. Jack Della Maddalena was the one who did it. He became the new UFC welterweight champion as a result of his unmatched talent, perseverance, and commitment. Jack had just begun his journey when he won the championship. That's it for this video, guys. See you in the next one. Till then, peace and a right hook.